What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel again. My name is Christopher Corinthian. Today we're going to react to another video by Candace Owens regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So we are still investigating it, and let's support Candace Owens because she's genuine, she is insightful, she is providing a lot of facts and information, and she is supported by all these civilians just like us, you and me. So today we are going to react to exclusive Kash Patel dances around Israelites on 9/10. Candace episode 258. We don't know what is then dances around Israelites. Let's just get started.
All right, you guys, let's jump right back into it, back into the investigation, because I have some incredibly interesting updates for you. Actually, some explosive revelations regarding the Charlie Kirk case. Now, buckle up, because there's this country that's only the size of New Jersey. It's always the victim. It turns out that they had some people on the ground that day. And I just want to be clear here, no matter what I say throughout this episode, please remember that they are always the victim. Historically, have always been the victim, and they have done nothing wrong. Didn't do nothing wrong on 9/10 either. In other news, the McCoys, let's jump back into their story because I've learned some crazy interesting data points to add to our timeline. You know I love me a timeline. So let's jump back in. Welcome back to Candace.
Let's go.
Do you know that moment when your subconscious kind of meets your conscious? Like you just suddenly, your subconscious is storing all this information and it's maybe flagging something for you that's a little weird, but you haven't come to realize it yet. And then all of a sudden, the information breaks the surface and you're like, aha, I got it. I didn't even realize that that thing that happened a long time ago was a little bit weird. And suddenly you're behaving like Dory, the bluefish from the movie Finding Nemo, when she remembers the P. Sherman address from Australia. You guys know that moment. Take a watch.
So, Shy, Sydney. P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Nemo! It's you! Nemo! Yes, Nemo!
Crime solved. Okay, that is how it works. Never ignore your subconscious. That's why I say pay attention to my dreams. I don't care who has to laugh at me about it. And there was this little something that flagged in the back of my mind as odd in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. One of these things that might seem small, but it's always the small details that help to paint the broader and bigger picture, right? Elle Woods in the movie Legally Blonde, she was absolutely correct when she said that people who work out have endorphins and happy people don't kill their husbands. Anyway, the thing that I realized is that Mikey McCoy, the chief of staff of Turning Point USA, Mikey McCoy, for whatever reason, he always requires an adjective. Whenever they discuss Mikey McCoy, there's an adjective before they say his name. A bunch of people in the Turning Point USA orbit described Mikey McCoy in this very unique manner. I want you to take a listen to that.
But let me tell you who the heroes were in this whole thing. We're going to start. Mikey McCoy showed up.
And my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
My friend Mikey McCoy, the brilliant 24-year-old who at the time when Charlie was shot was 23 and was a hero that day.
I used to be known as Charlie Kirk's pastor, now I'm known as Mikey McCoy's dad.
He clicked into gear eventually.
He did.
It was
Mikey,
amazing.
Mikey was a heroic figure on that day.
Amazing, heroic. He was brilliant. It stood out to me really because it's only Mikey that they moved to do it for. And objectively speaking, okay, I don't care what your experience in life is, I would not move to insist that someone was quote unquote heroic for walking away from their friend after he was shot. Okay, I just wouldn't, that wouldn't be the adjective that came to my mind, heroic. I also don't feel the need ever to qualify any of my friends with an adjective. Think about how strange it would be if on this show, every time I cover Tucker Carlson, I was like, the spectacular Tucker Carlson, the breathtaking Tucker Carlson is under attack in this moment. If on this show, every time I cover Tucker Carlson, I was like, the friends with an adjective. Think about how strange it would be if on this show, every time I cover Tucker Carlson, I was like, the spectacular Tucker Carlson, the breathtaking Tucker Carlson is under attack in this moment. You'd be like, why are you doing that? Why do I feel like you're trying to program me? This only made me more interested in Mikey and the McCoy story. And I want to be super clear here.
Insane.
No innuendo. I know that Mikey McCoy did not kill Charlie Kirk. We watch him in those moments. But it's also becoming pretty apparent to me that the stage was being set for Mikey to become the new Charlie. In fact, on stage at the memorial event for Charlie and elsewhere, they were trying to prime the public for that plausibility, almost like it was this psychological operation, nod to Rob McCoy and his family lineage, to see Mikey as capable of filling Charlie's shoes. Take a listen.
Let me tell you something about Mikey. Mikey's been with Charlie for several years. He's 23 years old. He is wise beyond his years. And when that tragedy struck, Mikey was an absolute hero who kept everybody calm and did some of the most mundane things you would think you would need to do on the worst day of his life. And he continues to be a rock. He's been following Jesus for a long time. I'm hoping that Mikey one day will follow in Charlie's footsteps right to the college campus, because he has the ability, the demeanor, the grace, the knowledge to do so.
Set an example for the believers in speech and conduct and love, in faith and in purity. Our speaker today, Mikey McCoy, has done that. His path was pretty much like Charlie Kirk's path.
Pretty much like Charlie Kirk's path. And he's got the grace and the wits and everything.
What?
It's amazing. Okay?
Insane,
and
man.
if you're wondering why we also included Erica saying the amazing Mikey McCoy in her first speech, it's because Rob McCoy, oddly, refers back to Erica's speech when he is asked specifically what he believes Mikey's future is going to be at Turning Point USA, okay? He's going to start, you're going to see, he's going to answer a question. The show is Faith, the Faith Forward show. And he starts to answer the question, but then he sort of cuts himself off and he trails into a different topic, almost as if he catches himself. Take a listen.
And then Mikey specifically, like how he's going to kind of fit into that picture. Because when I'm seeing him speak, man, I'm like, dude, Mikey is going to have a humongous role within this organization.
So Charlie was an avid journaler, very avid. And when Erica started opening up his journals after he was killed, she started reading. Charlie had a plan all the way through 2028.
Wow.
Written out. Written out. I mean, there's an order of succession, and when she comes out and she says the amazing Mikey McCoy.
McCoy, yeah.
And this is one of the things I would share with Mikey, I'd share with Charlie, and I learned it from Steve Smotherman, and Pastor Steve Smotherman said it to Charlie. Where you're a public figure, you have very little privacy.
Instagram now lets you send automated DM.
Guys, it's
Most
insane,
people
man.
are going to use this.
What?
That was weird.
Privacy.
That was weird, right? That's a weird way to try to answer that question. What's he doing there? Is he trying to make us believe, but not explicitly state, but kind of explicitly state, or maybe implicitly state that Charlie's future, or rather Mikey McCoy's future, was written by Charlie in one of these journals? That's what I was picking up. That's what I feel like he was throwing down. Let me know if I'm crazy, but that was a weird way to answer. And he's like, so when Erica comes out and she says the amazing Mikey McCoy, he talks about the journals. What's going on here? Now, I'm going to give you some data points to back this up. Now, I maintain that the wonderful Mikey McCoy doesn't strike me as intrinsically evil. Something Charlie used to always say to me is the eyes are the window to the soul. I don't see this intrinsic evil when I look at Mikey McCoy's eyes. But, however, to me is the eyes are the window to the soul. I maintain that the wonderful Mikey McCoy, to back this up now, about the journals, what's going on here? Now, I'm going to give you some data points to back this up. Now, I maintain that the wonderful Mikey McCoy doesn't strike me as intrinsically evil. Something Charlie used to always say to me is the eyes are the window to the soul. I don't see this intrinsic evil when I look at Mikey McCoy's eyes. But, however, I do think he was hyped. Okay. I think Mikey was promised or told or encouraged that he would become the new Charlie. And it is a fact that that was the #1 sentiment that we received from our Turning Point USA insiders following Charlie's assassination, that the supercalifragilistic Mikey McCoy appeared to have like an extra spring in his step that made them all a little bit uncomfortable in the aftermath, and that he seemed all too happy to assume Charlie's position. Look, he's already speaking at Liberty University. Why? Because he made some phone calls? Have we lowered the standards for what makes somebody a hero in 2025? I don't know. And I will say that beyond the sentiment that was expressed to us from these Turning Point USA insiders, there are some interesting facts. Fact number 1, for whatever reason, in the month, and I'm going to make sure that I address my timeline here, in the month leading up to Charlie's death, Mikey McCoy was interested in capturing some behind the scenes footage, more intimate moments of Charlie's life. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of that, okay? Example number 1, Charlie's very last overseas trip to Korea. Okay, this was 4 days before he died. For whatever reason, Mikey McCoy felt suddenly inspired to try his luck, miking up Charlie and capturing him on the road. And he says this is the first time he ever did it. Take a listen to Mikey McCoy explain that.
Today is really fun because Mikey and Blake are going to talk about their last trip with Charlie to Asia.
Yep.
And Mikey, you are now in the driver's seat. The floor is yours.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that was just 3-4 days before Utah.
Crazy.
And it was Charlie's dream to always go to Asia. And Blake and I got the gift of being able to tag along for that. And so I brought the camera with me. I've never traveled with the camera before, but I decided, it'd be a good idea to mic Charlie up, do some content with him while we're there.
Okay. That is remarkable, obviously. For the first time, he decided to mic. It's not something that somebody does as a chief of staff. It's not something that somebody does in that role. Okay, I've traveled with Charlie everywhere. Very strange. The person that mics is always the AV person. And I would assume there were some AV people that were on hand given the trip. But anyways, that's not it. Okay, that's not just one point that we have. And don't worry, because I'm going to show you after I've plotted all of this into our timeline. Just a few weeks before Charlie died, Mikey McCoy and his wife Eliza, for the very first time, now this is according to Eliza McCoy, she shared that it was the first time ever that they went on vacation. Her and Mikey went on vacation with Erica and Charlie. Here's that post on Instagram. That second paragraph begins, "We spent a few weeks together this summer, our first family trip together." Okay, getting real close there. And while they were on this very first time together for a couple of weeks vacation, something moved the McCoys to capture intimate and sweet moments of the Kirk family from behind the scenes. Now, you know which footage I'm talking about. It's the footage that has since gone viral of Charlie walking with his children and Erica. Erica grabs his hand. It's actually a very sweet moment, and it moved a lot of us. People were, I know I was crying when I first saw this footage a couple of days after Charlie died. Well, let me tell you guys something. Fortunately, the McCoys were the ones that captured that footage. See, my thing is I need to know what moved. McCoys were the ones that captured that footage. See, my thing is I need to know what moved them to do that. Are they really just that extraordinary? Is it the extraordinarily lucky Mikey McCoy? Because I was thinking about it because I have a big family and people with families know. And you can go through Charlie's Instagram as I have done. There's always one person missing from intimate family moments when they're on the fly. They're not planned, right? There tends to be one family member missing because one person grabs the camera and you're capturing the kids with dad, or you're capturing the kids with mom, or it's just the kids, whatever it is. That's how family footage, when it's organic, tends to look, right? And of course, on holidays, you get together, you stand up, you capture a picture. That is the pattern. If you go through Erica, Charlie's Instagram, Charlie's missing or Erica's missing, and that's because they're filming each other. But thankfully, the McCoys were on hand in what looks like mid-July or early August, into early August. According to my sources, we will nail down these specific dates in the future. We are working on it, okay? Strikes me as odd, this July or early August. Thankfully, the McCoys were on hand in what looks like mid-July or early August, into early August. According to my sources, we will nail down these specific dates in the future. We are working on it, okay? Strikes me as odd that Mikey is just picking up the camera and capturing these moments. I don't know. For the first time ever, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And if I'm in Erica's position, I'm starting to look at him funny, like, what's going on here, okay? Now let's bring in Daddy McCoy. Wouldn't say, he strikes me as something else entirely. And he similarly had some rather impeccable timing. Rob McCoy, as you very well know, was the senior pastor of the Godspeak Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks, California. You should also know, by the way, let me introduce this to you right now because I didn't know, that he was funded, his church was funded by the Wilkes brothers down in Texas. The Wilkes brothers are the ones that fund Daily Wire, were, the initial seed money behind the Daily Wire, the initial seed, not the initial seed money behind PragerU, but they majorly fund Prager University as well. So that's an interesting web that's being woven before our eyes, right? You've got PragerU, and now you've got this church, and they are a part of what is described online as a cult. It's like Christians for Jews. You look into it yourself. I honestly can't explain it, but that's just something that you should know in the background. Anyway, for whatever reason, after 17 years as the head pastor of that church, Rob McCoy, it was publicly announced in January of this year that he would be stepping down as the head pastor and instead assuming the role of pastor emeritus. Now, for the uninitiated, emeritus is basically just an honorific title, right? Bestowed upon someone after they retire from some distinguished position. For Rob McCoy, they had planned that transition. That transition took effect in mid-July of this year. Okay, mid-July of this year is when he officially steps down from the church. A lot going on here in McCoy land. Now, in case you're thinking, well, that doesn't mean that he was doing all of that and transitioning because he was anticipating some bigger role at Turning Point USA and maybe therefore planning to wind down his life in California. No, actually, that's exactly the reason that was cited when it was reported on in January. In the Ventura County Star, they wrote, quote, he's approaching a transition in July. He'll step down as the senior pastor of Godspeak and hand the reins to his son-in-law, Micah Stevens, the church's administrative and worship pastor. McCoy will become the emeritus pastor and will still preach regularly at the church in a role that could last into the mid-70s. And then it goes on to say when McCoy's responsibilities grew at Turning Point USA, he and his wife sold their home in Thousand Oaks and bought a home in the Phoenix area. Now he said that he bought a different place in Thousand Oaks. He also owns a home in Coronado near San Diego. Now, what we can confirm to you is that Rob actually put that secondary home in Coronado up for sale on August 24th, 2025 of this year. He listed his home up for sale. So suffice it to say that the fantastic, heroic, sensational McCoys were pretty busy this summer, and I don't like it at all. I just don't like it. The vibes for me are not good. Now we can take a look at our timeline here with these new moves added into it. We're going to start looking at July 11th because that's when I think things reached some sort of a pinnacle. That's when I think things reached some sort of a pinnacle. 11th because that's when I think things reached some sort of a pinnacle. That's the infamous speech that Tucker Carlson gave where he calls out Bill Ackman. He starts talking about Israel, all this stuff, and things start moving, okay? Now you can see that's July 11th, and he says that people who serve in foreign armies should be stripped of their citizenship. He muses about where Bill Ackman's wealth comes from. July 18th is our next date on our timeline. And this is a great find from Sam Parker. That is when Turning Point USA receives a request from UVU for Charlie to hold an event at Utah Valley. Not only do they instantly accept this request, but they also make it his first stop, which is incredible. We can listen to a news anchor, I think this is from Fox News Salt Lake City, describe exactly when that request went out, as we're telling you on July 18th. Take a listen.
Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing the security plan for that day. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks,
I think this is from Fox News Salt Lake City, describe exactly his first stop, which is incredible. We can listen to a news anchor. I think this is from Fox News Salt Lake City, describe exactly when that request went out, as we're telling you on July 18th. Take a listen.
Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing. Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing the security plan for that day. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks, this is the first record provided. It's the application submitted mid-July by the UVU chapter of Kirk's Turning Point USA. The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection. That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk Rally Security Plan. The university is citing a provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote. The campus also has expressed concern that the records could interfere in any investigation and someone's right to a fair trial. Tyler Robinson is charged with Kirk's murder. Fox 13 plans an appeal of the denial, and we are still pursuing a variety of records related to the Kirk shooting.
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many.
Insane, man.
Team productivity.
Well, Fox 13 News, if I can be of any assistance, you just reach out to me, because I've done a lot of these events and everything happening here is unusual, okay? For them to honor a request, I mean, they get every university across all 50 states trying to get Charlie and I to speak, okay? A request going in that late, being honored and becoming stop number one within a couple of weeks, I'm gonna say that's never happened. I'm gonna dig through my inbox, okay? I'm going to dig through my inbox. I'm going to see what the normal security protocols are, because as everybody has noticed, there was no ambulance on standby. And that's against Utah law. And so it's interesting that they don't want to release the security plan, because I'm pretty sure this was an extraordinary first-time thing where they didn't have a security plan. And I had received a tip, and I do want to check this out, by the way, that they also had initially slated for this event to be inside, but it was moved. Again, I have to look into that. I'm not confirming that. But if that's true as well, things are about to get very interesting. And guess what, guys? There's more. And this part is crazy. I guess it's not really crazy. I think I saw like Milo Yiannopoulos tweeted, I think Israel did it. And that's because he was tweeting about the bizarre lie of them saying Erica Kirk was accepting this award, and they completely fictionalized it. They've just been lying nonstop, quickly, right? Right out the gate. Bibi Netanyahu doing propaganda rounds, denying that he had anything to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Perfectly normal thing to do, right? Perfectly normal. For some reason, I didn't feel compelled to do that. I didn't feel like I had to get on camera and make a statement that I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. But Bibi Netanyahu felt that he needed to do that, and all of his sycophants in America echoed that statement, and nobody had accused them. A thief runneth when no one pursueth, right? Well, here's some explosive news. A thief runneth when no one pursueth, right? Well, here's some explosive news for you that I can now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, confirm. Putting my name on this. Not only can I confirm this, but I can publicly challenge the very Zionist, occupied Trump administration, who is aware of this, to deny it, to come out and say, no, that's not true, okay? And if Kash Patel is done crying about the mean tweets on the internet regarding his sensational singing girlfriend, he can also certainly make the time of day to deny what I am saying if it is untrue, right? Because this is pretty relevant. Now, I should say that some people had actually reported this earlier. Like Mel, I've been telling you to follow her, Village Crazy Lady over on X. She was actually very early with this reporting, and I had heard rumors and rumblings, but I wanted to make sure that I had verifiable proof, enough proof that I would go out on a limb, as I'm doing right now, and asserting that it is authentic and it is real. Ladies and gentlemen, there were, for whatever reason, 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. This has completely spooked the people that are very high up in government. At Utah Valley, Israeli cell phones on the ground at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. This has completely spooked the people that are very high up in government. Now, to be clear, I don't mean that there were 12 VPNs that were switched and routed through Israel on that day. I mean that there were 12 personal cell phone accounts that were opened in Israel, okay? Like you go into Verizon in Tennessee or in Connecticut and you open your phone. I am saying that they opened their phones in Israel, those accounts in Israel, and they were on the ground on September 10th at Utah Valley University when Charlie was shot. Now, the NSA knows this. Kash Patel knows this. People in the current administration know this. NSA knows this. Kash Patel knows this. People in the current administration know this, and they are desperate for some knows this. People in the current administration know this, and they are desperate for some reason to stop that information from being released to the public. Why? Because they're the most transparent administration ever? Is that why? Is this like Jeffrey Epstein transparency that we're getting? Because that's what it feels like. It always seems that on the topic of this one nation that's only the size of New Jersey and has done nothing wrong ever and was truly the greatest friend to Charlie right up until the very end, never put any pressure on him, suddenly everybody abandons their values. True friends of Charlie Kirk, right? Standing on that stage, giving him a speech, hiding this. Now, what would be the reason that they wanted to keep that information under wraps? And why does it have people at the very top spooked? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide, okay? If there's nothing to hide, then there's nothing to hide.
Insane.
Now, let's play devil's advocate. And to be clear, we are now advocating for the devil when we do this. Maybe the cell phones belonged to some exchange students. It's possible. Maybe 12 Israelis were touring UVU on that day because, I don't know, Utah Valley University is a place where they maybe wanted to attend in the future. Maybe 12 American students had Israeli-based cell phones because they had just come back from a summer abroad program and they wanted to keep their Israeli cell phones running when they got back home to Utah. I don't know, but I'd like to know. In fact, we need to know the answer to this question.
We need to know.
Why are they hiding this information, and why and who did those 12 Israeli cell phones belong to? Okay? I don't like secrets. I don't like secrets, especially when they pertain to the public execution of my friend Charlie Kirk. We'll take a break and we'll come right back. All right, you guys.
Guys, crazy, man. What is going on, man? Kash Patel. Guys, Kash Patel, dude. What is he doing, man?
That's spatty50.com/Candace and use promo code Candace at checkout. So we've got planes from Egypt, cell phones from Israel, and we are getting the runaround from the Trump administration, the runaround from his friends, the people that wanted to just stop asking questions and move on. What does this feel like to you? What does this feel like to you? Sometimes I wish I was born yesterday, right? It would be so easy to just accept it, like, oh, yeah, I totally, there just was a lone shooter who, you know, had never really been hunted, but he got really lucky and he just fired this shot and he never been to the campus, but he somehow knew how to scale the buildings, running around like Spider-Man. I wish I was born yesterday so I could just accept that. I do. Unfortunately, I wasn't born yesterday. I was actually born 36 years ago. And everyone is full of it. I am looking at a situation where Charlie was betrayed and is actively being betrayed every day by the very people that he helped to elect, the people that are in office. They are betraying him by trying to feed us this nonsense, okay? They are feeding us, they're selling us crap and trying to tell us it's food, right? Like if this is nourishing or something. I just won't tolerate it, okay? And it is, I think, one of the craziest things happening right now, that these people are now telling us to shift gears and that it's our duty, right? It's our duty to make sure more of them get elected. Now, there are a lot of people running around right now. There are races, important races, they tell us, going on in the country, consequential races that are happening, and people online are being somewhat accusatory, upset that Republicans are infighting, if that's what you're calling this. I'm not fighting with you, okay? I'm going to see this thing all the way through. And that we're instead focused on using our platforms to fight one another rather than to encourage people to go vote so that Republicans can stay in power across various cities. You know, as just one example, of course, people really cannot stop speaking about the Mamdani versus the Cuomo mayoral race in New York. Now, Cuomo's already one of the most corrupt families in New York. And now they're like, no, switch gears because Mamdani is going to be worse. And it's your job as a good little Republican, okay, to go out there and to make sure that Mamdani doesn't win. And to those very many people, I would like to say, no, I'm good, actually. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in nothing until you start telling the truth about what happened in Charlie Kirk. Until you acknowledge that a 30-06 did not go through his neck, did not get stopped, rather, by his neck. Until you acknowledge that that story that you tried to tell us is complete BS, something that could take down a moose somehow did not take down Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? I'm not interested in your races around the country. I'm not voting until this is resolved, okay?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
toxic. You are toxic. And it is unbelievably abusive to suggest that I have to now reinvest and work for the exact same party that told me that if I voted for them and got the word out for them, and I did do all of those things, that things would be different. Corruption's gonna stop. We're gonna be the most transparent administration that you've ever seen, except on those Epstein files. Yeah, I know he was like abusing children, but what Epstein files were we even talking about? No, thank you. No, nope, goodbye. Not doing it anymore. You're left versus right. Don't care anymore. There is power and there is the rest of us. There is power and there is the rest of us. And you are not going to convince me that any of this stuff is consequential after I just watched Charlie Kirk catch a bullet in his throat and watching all of you lie about it, okay? There's actually this vintage clip from TRL, remember Total Request Live with Carson Daly, that perfectly embodies me and how I am feeling in this moment. So let's watch that vintage clip together.
4 signs you are the type of woman. Love me.
So tell me, why?
Hi, my name is Mienda, and I live in Florida. Being a young black female and also a teen mother, what do you guys do to give back to the community? Also directed mostly towards ODB. I know Praz and the Fugees do things for the community, but what is going to be your thing for the community?
Nothing. Don't get me wrong now. Don't get me wrong. I send you love.
To the Republicans, I send you love. Okay, don't get me wrong. I send you love. But what I will be doing for the broader community until you start telling the truth is nothing. Nothing. So don't at me. I just don't care at all. Not even a little bit. Anyway, 2 of the 3 people that I still like that are within the realm of politics got together. Tucker Carlson joined Dave Smith. I kind of want to qualify Tucker Carlson. I feel like I want to say the stupendous Tucker Carlson joined Dave Smith on his show to respond to all of this Zionist backlash that he was receiving for having a conversation with Nick Fuentes, and foremost, Tucker explains why he had the conversation with Nick Fuentes. Take a listen.
I didn't make Nick Fuentes, hardly. I just want to know what this is about. And I didn't make Nick Fuentes, hardly. I just want to know what this is about. And I wanted to make the point that I often make and now seems even more important than it ever has, which is that virtue and sin are not transmitted genetically.
Right.
There is no such thing as blood guilt. Therefore, collective punishment is always immoral. God created each person individually. He did not create communities at once. He created
I think this
people.
is the theology one, isn't
And
it?
all of us will die and in the end face God alone. So it's about the person. And people can be changed by God, by the way. And the New Testament is that story of people who were, in the case of the whole hero of the New Testament, the human hero is a guy called Paul, was murdering Christians as a Pharisee, and then becomes the greatest proselytizer in the history of Christianity and my personal hero. So, like, don't tell me that people can't be changed because of their blood. Now, that is the basis, that position is the basis of Western civilization. We often talk about Western civilization, and we're all defending Western civilization. Israel's defending Western civilization. Israel does not have a Western position on this question. The Israeli position, not of all Israelis, by the way, and certainly not of all Jews, but I'm saying of the Israeli government and of a couple of its ministers, which they say this out loud all the time, is that everybody who's related to a terrorist shares in his guilt. That's collective punishment. It is blood guilt, and it's antithetical to Christianity and to the West. And so for me, and by the way, Israel's not the only country that does this. Most countries do this. Literally, most countries do this. All of Asia, India, this is like an intuitive response that people have.
Okay, so that I actually introduced that wrong. That's Tucker just giving the broader theological, delivering the broader theological point, which is important, that people have the capacity to change. And actually, we're kind of in this weird psychosis as a society. And I would say that this is kind of one of the things they're trying to deliver to us, is that some people are just deplorable. Like everything about them is just so deplorable, and we have to throw them away. And that's what creates these sort of movements where people are just tired of it. They're just tired of this. This is not the way that Christians think, actually. We very much don't live in a Christian society because we live in a Christian Zion. That's what creates these sort of movements where people are just tired of it. They're just tired of this. This is not the way that Christians think, actually. We very much don't live in a Christian society because we live in a Christian Zionist society, and Christian Zionism is it's a paradox, okay? There's no such thing as Christian Zionism, because Zionism is all about identity, right? It's all about identity. Because I am a Jew, I therefore have a right to this land. Because they are Jews and I am a Christian, I recognize that I'm going to get into heaven if I just worship how Bibi Netanyahu, even if when he kills tens of thousands of kids. That is a political ideology. It is not a religion, and it is dangerous, and it's wrong, and it is backwards, and it is, of course, antithetical to the Bible. Now, Tucker then explains specifically why he chose to have a conversation with Nick Fuentes. Take a listen.
You should be forgiving always. Things are being said right now that almost seem like they can't be forgiven. They're exhortations to violence. Clearly they are, et cetera, et cetera. Slander of a kind that's so severe. Like, how do you get past that? I think we should force ourselves. I interviewed Nick Fuentes to attack my wife and my son and my dad. Can't attack my dad. And I interviewed to attack my wife and my past that. I think we should force ourselves. I interviewed Nick Fuentes to attack my wife and my son and my dad. Can't attack my dad. And I interviewed him anyway. I choked it back, and I thought to myself, I want to hear this, and I'm just going to I try to make myself do that. So if tomorrow John Podhoretz is like, or whomever I'm mad at, right? People I used to know are calling me a Nazi, is like, you know what? I don't think he's actually a Nazi. Like, let's have a real conversation. Let's do the best for America. They should all be accepted. I don't think we should have permanent enemies who are American citizens. I don't, because I think the whole idea of it is we're united by citizenship, our common Americanness. Everybody's welcome, even if we hated each other 20 minutes ago. And Glenn Greenwald, I mean, I hated Glenn Greenwald. Now I think he was one of my favorite people in the world, not just politically, but personally. Like, forgiveness is essential. People change. Allow for that. Don't draw permanent lines in the sand where it's like, I hate you and I will hate your son too. Like, that's non-Western thinking. We don't allow that.
Hi, I'm Liam Neeson. Lebanon, Haiti.
I want you to really consider, you listen to Tucker's perspectives and what's guiding his perspectives. and then go backwards and listen to like Mark Levin and these people that get on their platforms and call him irredeemable, and you realize there's a different spirit moving within these groups, right? And he is what Christianity is, right? It's about forgiveness. It's about when you're angry, not assuming that there's some like blood oath that you need to honor, but saying, you know what, Nick Fuentes says something crappy things about me and I'm going to speak to him. I did the same thing. I was like the bigger person, hosted him, and he was, by the way, still a jerk. But this idea that he shouldn't have a platform, he shouldn't be allowed to speak, he shouldn't be allowed to think, he shouldn't be allowed to breathe. What is that from? What is your faith? You're definitely not going to convince me that that's the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay. I know what your faith is. It's Zionism. Okay. You guys behave like books of the Bible. Okay. I know what your faith is. It's Zionism. Okay. You convince me that that's the first 5 books of the, what is your faith? You're definitely not going to convince me that that's the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay. I know what your faith is. It's Zionism. Okay. You guys behave like gangsters. You behave like you are only loyal to one another, and you'll come beat up any person figuratively. You'll take care of any person that gets in your way. And the world can see that now. So what's your next move? To just keep doing this? To just keep behaving like this? And just know that every act that you make, every show, everything that you make go viral with you speaking in the way that you speak, and then people get to hear Tucker, he gets bigger and you get smaller, okay? He gets bigger, our ideas get bigger, your ideas get smaller, because people can perceive the nastiness that's guiding it and they want nothing to do with it, okay? Now, I'm going to take a brief break because I know that you guys have a lot of comments, and we also have book club tonight. And we're going to get deeper, by the way, into that sort of guiding theology when we get back into the Sigmund Freud book, because it really, really connects dots for you, right? What that guiding philosophy comes from is actually a psychology. It is a psychology, and he's the father of it, as they call him, the father of modern psychology. And so really stepping back into time and understanding what was happening at the turn of the 19th century across Europe, why so many speech laws have been passed in Europe, kind of Christians in the way that we're doing right now, waking up and going, what is the guiding philosophy of these people that seem like they hate us? Like they're trying to abuse, like what have we done wrong to be treated like this? This book is really an aha moment, and I'm excited for the book club. I'm excited, and I understand why Zionists infiltrated it, but we're not going to stop. But first, let's get to a couple of sponsors, then I'm going to answer some of your comments. All right, you guys, jumping in here to doc.
Guys, let me know what you think about this episode. Honestly,
wanted to turn that's happening. This aware of. It's the strangest thing to me when these people, mortgage consultants today, you can call American Financing at 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. Again, that's americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right. Top comment from yesterday. I'm going to start pulling the top comment that makes me chuckle. There were a couple of them yesterday, but this one regarding Kash Patel's tweets, calling his girlfriend a sensational country singer. It was so weird. This user wrote, Cheryl writes, after hearing Kash Patel's tweet, I'm 90% sure he's the one that wrote Tyler's message to his furry lover. Absolutely, you are correct. It's now a fact. It's now a fact. Just kidding, but I loved that comment. All right, comments from today's episode. Laughing Cats Music World writes, I keep thinking about George Zinn. I know he was a habitual Salt Lake City event disruptor, but what are the chances his reflex is to take the blame voluntarily? I guess it's possible, but wow, crazy split decision to make, right? Not even a hesitation. I told you guys that we had a source leak to us. He went to the hospital. He went to Utah Valley Hospital after this event to treat some of his like mild injuries from being dragged. And he told people that he was told to do it and he was paid to do it. But he didn't know where the payment was coming from. So yeah, this entire thing was just an operation. Like I said, Brandon Hansen, more on that later. In the IDF, we know, and Bibi wants TikTok secured for Israel's future. Why do they care about Egyptian planes that were there? It's kind of coming together. There's a picture here that's coming together. Anyways, you guys, we have to jump off because we do have book club tonight. So I will see you guys in the Zionist infiltration on our book club. We finally did it, guys. We went viral, and they're stealing clips from behind the paywall. If you guys would like to support our work, you can go to CandaceOwens.com. You can go to MakeHimASandwich.com to buy the book. You will really enjoy this book. It's really important, especially for women to understand where these feminist ideals came from. And beyond that, we will see you guys tomorrow.
Guys, what do you think of this episode? Honestly, you ask me, guys, this is one of the most insightful episodes from Candace Owens, and it's getting crazier. You have to watch whatever you have left out in this episode. The Mikey McCoy and Rob McCoy succession plan, and also the 12 cell phones that has Israel, that are from Israel. This is really, really crazy. And like the election thing, honestly, this thing is complex, but once you know it, it's not complex anymore. Guys, why they did this? It's insane, man. I can't believe, bro. Guys, if you have any opinions or comments, let me know down in the comment section, and I'd like to hear from you, because sometimes I cannot learn everything, right? And you guys are having wisdom. And I actually am preparing my album. I'm a dubstep, and I actually released a new song, Quick Producer. So let's have a listen, all right?
Instagram now lets you send.
Sorry. I hope you enjoy, man. Okay, another one. I'm gonna show the second part. This is Fabled Humanitarian. Oh. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next one. If you have any questions or opinion, let me know down in the comment section. If you have any video that you want me to react to, let me know down in the comment section also. And I'll see you in the next one. Pray the rosary. May God bless you all. May Jesus bless you all. Amen.